One of the first concentration camps open, Buchenwald concentration camp was established July 16, 1937 on Mount Ettersberg, north of Weimar, Germany. The sign on the front gate through which all 240,000 of the prisoners were escorted read, Yadayim das Seine, or to each their own. Of Buchenwald's three commanders, its most infamous was Karl Otto Koch and his wife Ilse, whom were known for their exceeding brutality towards inmates. Karl was tried for murder, embezzlement, and stealing possessions from the inmates. His wife, commonly referred to as Die Hexe von Buchenwald, or the Witch of Buchenwald, was notoriously known for taking tattooed skin from the prisoners and making lampshades and book covers out of it. Most of the prisoners arriving to Buchenwald in its first year were political prisoners and regular criminals. It was only after Kristallnacht when Jews arrived. Other prisoners included Poles, mentally and physically ill and disabled, prisoners of war, homosexuals, Jehovah's Witnesses, and gypsies. Although it was not an extermination camp, the death toll at Buchenwald from the forced labor, malnourishment, sickness, and medical experimentation was between 55,000 and 60,000 people, not mentioning the ones just passing through on their way to a real extermination camp. Buchenwald's inmates were treated wretchedly upon arrival. When a large amount of Jews came, they had spent their arrival night in the open winter air where they were beaten and tortured. 255 had died that night from mistreatment. The loudspeaker kept repeating the announcement that any Jew who wished to hang himself should put a paper with his number in his mouth so that his identity could be quickly established. Inmates were robbed of any jewelry they had and immediately forced into labor. One form of labor they had was carry large, burdensome building stones 6 miles to the camp. Anyone who fell over from the load would be shot on sight. Beatings, shootings, and public hangings were not uncommon starting June 4, 1939, when prisoner Emil Bragatsky was hanged on the muster ground in front of inmates for beating an SS guard to death in an attempt to escape. This was the first public execution to take place in a German concentration camp. One of the late arrivals to Buchenwald in 1945 was 15-year-old Elie Wiesel, whom would go on to win the Nobel Peace Prize and write about his horrifying experiences in his book Night. Elie was reportedly in one of the most famous photographs taken within a concentration camp. On April 11, 1945, after almost 8 years of being open, Buchenwald was liberated by American 3rd Division Army. The prisoners, previously knowing of this liberation, attempted to take control over the SS guards, killing and taking them prisoner as the U.S. troops arrived. Around 21,000 people were liberated, nearly 500 of whom were children.